5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve. This is Live with Neve. Iconic musicians, comedy, and God knows what else. Hold on!
All right. We finally made it to Friday. How about it, man? What a week. What a year. What a year and 15 days it's been. So it is Friday. I am high in Highlands overlooking, I would be overlooking beautiful Manhattan. However, it's foggy. The high temperature is 45, and it's going to be 43 here in the New York area. And today we've got some really great guests. We're going to do a couple of things that are a little different. Most of you guys come on here to look and listen to us talk about music, and I do my best to make some sense out of the craziness of the world from a crazy person's perspective. And we like to talk about all kinds of things. So late in the show, I'm going to be bringing on, I'm going to digress from it before I tell you his name. Picture this, guys. You're a 17-year-old kid. You're living your life, you're going to school, you're doing your thing, and your parents are having some marital difficulties. Let's presume that you're watching a movie on television and the 17-year-old is charged with murder erroneously. Think of being that 17-year-old kid and your father is killed, murdered in cold blood. Then think about your mom, and think about if your mom did it with her nefarious boyfriend or whatever he was. Then think about them framing you for the crime. Think about waking up in a holding cell and being interrogated incessantly for a long time. Think about if you've never done a damn thing wrong in your life and you're in the middle of this nightmare. That's bad enough. You're thinking a week, 2 weeks. Think about being in jail for 24 years. Innocent. Totally, in every way, locked into a maximum penitentiary, life with no parole. Now, again, guys, if you're watching this, you know I'm a very lighthearted, maniacal guy, and I just like to have a lot of fun. I don't do the politics thing. I don't argue with people about any of that malarkey. To quote our president-elect Joe Biden, malarkey, I say. But really think about it. If you were sitting in jail for 24 years, you think about the thoughts that in 24 years would go through your head every day, the same piece of shit bologna sandwich, every day the terror of getting your ass kicked or even worse. Think about if it was you or somebody in your family. Okay, I think I've set the stage here. Our guest at the end of the show, he's friend. I'm going to just use his first name. Irish is that guy. He's really funny. He's got a great sense of humor. Plays guitar damn good. And we're going to be talking about what saved him and kept him going through that time. There is a happy ending to this story, if you can imagine. Thank God, because otherwise I probably wouldn't be talking about it. We're going to be talking to Irish in the last segment, and we're going to run the show over today. You can expect to probably see a 2-hour show. It's going to be not my usual laugh, yuck it up kind of a festival of fun. So that's to start off on a kind of a somber note. But you know what? It's a really happy story, and I love tales of redemption. I like people to get the crap kicked out of them, and then they come back, and they rally their inner strengths. They pull it out of somewhere. God helps them. However it happens, I like that. And remember, if you're out there and you've had your ass kicked and you're laying on your back and you don't know what to do, there's things you can do. And there's people who'll help. And don't give up, because happy endings can happen. And they don't happen often enough, especially with shit like this. So we have some excellent entertainment today. We have a friend, and he's from down in Alabama, I believe. I'm sorry, Nathan, I didn't do my homework on that. However, we're going to ask you, because people would really rather hear it from you than me. I have, as usual, I have Mike Imperato, who's always here by our side. He is my cop on the beat. He's my go-to man for consumer fraud stuff too. Him and I are gonna have some fun with some of the phone scammers. I have some bits that I'm working on that him and I are gonna try and terrorize and torment some of the phone scammers who call up. You know, they call senior citizens. They tell them, your Social Security, we're gonna go ahead and send over a team of SWAT agents to your house, or I had one telling me that I was under arrest and he was with the IRS, and he said, "Hello, yes, is this Mr. Neil Van Early?" And I said, "Yes, sir, it is." And he said, "You have a very serious problem. You have a problem with IRS, and my name is Joe." I said, "Joe?" I said, "I could have sworn you're my friend Prakeet." He goes, "No, I am Agent Joe." And I asked him his address, and it was some address down in Washington, of course. However, the call was being routed not from a Washington interchange, but a California, Los Angeles 310. So at first I thought when he called, it was like one of my friends ringing me up, but no. So at any rate, that's Mike is like the king of ranting, and I'm going to have him on. I have some secret questions for him today. I'm going to ask him after the rant, though, because I have a little clue where we're going. I'm going to bring Julie on. Good morning, Julie. What's happening, babe? How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm really, I'm looking forward to talking to Nathan Nelson. I digressed and didn't even say his last name, but man, we're going to have a good time. This guy is hot. He plays great. And I know people will enjoy it. And we've got, what do you
Nathan's
think,
great.
Mike? What's Mike going to be? You think he's going to be calm today?
No, Mike already warned me that what he's got coming up, and it's almost like a slight bit continuation from last week in one topic. I think, is that fair to say, Mike? Sort of a continuation. Oh, we got to unmute Mike.
Unmute the man.
Here we go. Oh, wait, you're muted still. Why are you muted? There you go.
Got me?
There he is, Mike.
All right.
Yes, Mike,
hey, yeah, no, that's what got me thinking about this week is why we ended last week off. But hey, before we go, Neil, I have a friend. What she does when the telemarketer's on the phone, she's like, "Oh, hold on a second, I just got another dick pic." Yeah, and then she'll say, "Oh, shit, you got to see the size of this thing. You want to see it?" And most of them just hang up on her. But it's great. Yeah, she go, "Hold on, I got an email coming in. Oh, it's an amazing dick pic," and they usually just hang up.
Oh man, I love it.
But today, I tell you, I got two things on my mind this week that are really freaking me out. We're going to discuss it.
Oh, good.
Number one, it has nothing to do with which president gives these awards out, so let's get that out of there right away. But the other day, I'm reading that Bill Belichick decides he's not going to accept his Presidential Medal of Freedom. What the fuck is he getting a medal for? So I might be wrong, but since that first piece of shit kneeled during that football game years ago, I've never watched football again, and I never will, because the league condoned it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Bill Belichick and the Patriots have been subject to many investigations for cheating. Let's give him an award. Then I say to myself, who else got this freaking award? Last year, Tiger Woods. What did he do? He banged freaking whores. And if you're not from Brooklyn, let me say he banged whores. Bullshit. It's whores. That's how it's just. So yeah, he played golf great for a couple of years, but he banged like 500 freaking whores. Hey, Presidential Medal of Freedom. It became the ultimate participation freaking trophy. Now I look back, and Muhammad Ali got this medal, and I don't agree with that. Because in my opinion, he'll always be a draft dodger. Whether he was right or wrong, what about all the kids that did what their country asked of them and they never came back? How is that a smack in the face to their families that this man decided, oh no, I'm not going to go. But then he goes on to make millions and millions of dollars as a boxer, give him the Presidential Freedom Medal. He didn't go to freaking Vietnam. He refused. Bullshit. So the medal should be freaking abolished. Tom Hanks got it. Now we know that he was on Epstein's island. Don't know what was going on over there. But give him the medal. Just give it out. I'd stop that shit tomorrow. It's bullshit. It's just absolute freaking bullshit. Tiger Woods, what did he do? He banged freaking 9,000 homers. That's what he did. That's what I know him for. He plays golf like shit now, and my father hated him, and that's good enough for me. So that's the end of that one.
That was a good one, Mike.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm going to vote for you. run for something. Just keep shit real, you know?
All right. Now, we need to talk about something else. Speaking of my father, like, now a lot of states, and probably within the next couple of years, marijuana will be legal for recreational use across the country. Doesn't mean it's a good idea for your parents to start smoking freaking pot. Let me tell you, everything I'm about to tell you is freaking true. Absolutely true. I lived it. So 18, working in construction with my father. He's a pothead. So we go on this job in Maryland. We go to the hotel. Now we're going to the hotel restaurant there to have dinner. We sit down. He starts telling me, Michael, go get me the bread off that table. No, I'm not going to go get the bread off the table because the waitress is going to bring our own bread. Well, I can't wait. I'm dying. Now I got to pretend he's having a medical emergency like he's a diabetic, which he's not. And I go get that freaking bread. Now we eat the entire freaking meal, dessert, everything. Get the check. He says to me, Michael, when are they going to bring our food? I'm saying, oh, this shit needs to stop now. This is not going to be good in any way, shape, or form. Fast forward, we're working on different jobs. We're living on the 4th floor in Brooklyn. I come home from work. He's in the kitchen. He's tied himself to the freaking kitchen table with bed sheets. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, my God, what are you doing? Oh, thank God you're home. I was getting sucked out the window. No, you weren't. Oh, no. You were not getting sucked out any freaking windows. You need to stop smoking pot today. Now, we had 2 couches in the living room. We had a plant hanging from one freaking side of the ceiling. Now he decides that plant is growing towards him to kill him. Now we switch couches. Now the plant starts growing in the other direction. He wants me to kill the plant. No, how about you just stop smoking freaking pot? Now we're in California working on the beach in Santa Barbara. So we have a day off. We're on the beach. He's sound asleep. He wakes up. He takes off down the beach at 100 miles an hour. Like a half a mile before I catch him. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? Oh, the bulldozers are chasing me. Nope. I'm on the same freaking beach as you. There's no freaking bulldozers. You got to stop at the pot. So he was smoking. He was drinking cold duck at the time, too. Now we're having a barbecue at the hotel. And we leave him outside to cook the meat. We have the potato salad, all that crap. We're in a room playing cards, whatever. Now we all go outside to eat. He's sitting there. He's got the radio against his head. He's got the bottle of cold duck. He's got the cigar in his hand, wasted out of his mind. And now there's no food. Everything's gone. It's all gone. We're like, where is everything? And he's like this. Like, he ate everything. He ate the whole barbecue. Now we have to go across the street to the steakhouse to get dinner because he ate everything. He comes with us to eat. It was bad. So everybody thinks, oh, it'll be so cute for my parents to have a little marijuana. Oh, no, it won't. No, it won't. You got to watch them like a 3-year-old. You got to make sure they're not tying themselves to tables and anything like that or attacking patrons in restaurants for their food because they're munched out. It's just a bad situation. So recreation, medical use, whatever it is, you got to watch your parents carefully because it could happen to you. End of rant.
Man, I have to tell you, that is the funniest shit I've heard. I want to know this. Where was your dad getting his marijuana? I want to make sure it's disposed of.
Actually, I'll tell you this. So when we lived on Day Hill Road in Brooklyn, my cousin Charlie and his wife Barbara lived downstairs. And they were the ones that provided him. So the first time I found out he was smoking, we went on a job upstate New York. We were working inside a dam. And he bought marijuana from this guy. And so now we're in the trailer. Well, the hotel room, they're rolling the joint. So I forget, the guy that sold to him lights it up. He gives it to my father. Now my father goes to give it back to the guy. And the guy says, what about your son? I'm like, oh, yeah, this is great, man. My father, what are you kidding me? He's freaking 18 years old. I'm like, you mother. It's like, because I was already smoking. It was like, but I couldn't tell him I was. But,
no, right.
No, he was freaking bad, man. We used to come home from work on a Friday, and they would be playing backgammon. They'd have 2 sets set up on the kitchen table. And they would smoke marijuana till 2 o'clock in the morning, and all they would do is eat and laugh and play freaking backgammon. Sometimes they'd be sitting there for 20 minutes. Nobody knew whose turn it was. They were all shot. But so everybody thinks, oh, yeah, what my mother has, let's give my mother a little pot. Oh, yeah, next thing you know, she's tied to the freaking table. It's bad. It's so bad. I mean, and then he comes home one night, and he's freaking wasted, and he brings home 2 dozen blue claw crabs, right? Because we lived together, me and him. We were the odd couple. So I was pissed off because I made dinner, and he stayed out and got drunk and didn't come home. So I was in the other bedroom, and I was like, making believe I didn't hear him. I was like, I wouldn't even respond. He let all the crabs go in the apartment. It took weeks to find those bastards. So another night, I made homemade chicken soup. I made homemade chicken soup one night. Same thing. He doesn't come home, so I'm not talking to him. We're like, oh, husband and wife. I'm not talking to him. So I'm in the bedroom, and he's in the kitchen. He's going, "Come on, pal. Come on. Why don't you have some soup with me? I'll heat it up." And I won't respond at all, right? Now I hear him taking the Corningware out of the refrigerator. He puts it on top of the gas stove, right? I'm saying, "Oh, God." But I'm so pissed off, I won't freaking respond. So he's in the kitchen, and he's talking. Next thing you know, I hear the explosion, right? And he goes, "Holy shit." So next thing I know, the kitchen light goes out, and he gets in bed. And I'm like, mother. Now, me being Felix Unger, oh, no. I had to go in there and clean all that shit. It was all over the walls. It was on the ceiling. It was everywhere. But we had some insane adventures. We really did.
So,
but he let the crabs go. I wanted to kill them. They were under the stove, under the couches.
Were they still alive? Were they still alive?
Yes. Yeah. Not like a couple of days later, you could find them by smelling them, but we had a crab. One time he had crabs get loose in the trunk of his car. We could never find them. When we drove anywhere as a family, everybody had their heads out the windows. It was because it was the middle of the summer, and these things freaking stunk so bad. But no, it was bad. It was bad.
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
Yeah.
So tell me, remember we had Frank Manzi on a week or two ago?
Oh yeah, I was talking to Frank last night.
His dad. In fact, Angela is going to be joining us a bit more frequently in the towards the end of the first quarter. We're going to have Angela and Frank. We're going to have a segment where we ask Frank for advice.
Wow.
I don't know if you recall, I was trying to hit him up. I was trying to hook him up with some ladies of questionable integrity. I think they have fine integrity personally, but I was asking him how young, if I get you a date, how young would you like? I said, 50? He goes, yeah, 50. I said, how about 40? He goes, yeah, 40. Oh, yeah. And then I said, how about 30? And he goes, 30, not so good.
Hey, my dad, before he died, he had jaw cancer, and then he developed breast cancer. But he's in the hospital when they took the breast cancer out. And so the nurse calls me up and says, your father wants you to bring up his hair oil. I'm like, oh, my God. I said, tell him I'm just going to go to CVS. I'll get baby oil, right? Wait, I'm buzzing myself here. And she says, no, he needs his hair oil from home because there's like 5 nurses here that he's attracted to. He's 84 years old because he had hair like me. He had this hair until the day he died. Like, I'd go all the way back home, get his freaking hair oil, bring it up there. And he was like, even 2 days before he died, I have a video of him singing a love song to one of the nurses at the nursing home. But his hair was perfect.
I have no doubt. I did spend some time in a nursing home, a bit more than I cared to a few years ago. And I will just tell you, I imagine if I'm an 80-year-old guy, I don't have much filter now, and I love the ladies. So I was, occasionally making some snide comment. And I won't say snide. I was actually just fairly suggestive that I was in need of some, medical aid. At any rate.
Oh my gosh!
I did my best.
No, he was a character. We left Tampa Bay Downs one day, and we go to this rib joint, and there's a horse trailer that pulls it in front of us. Now we get the ribs, and they're like freaking Brontosaurus ribs from the Flintstones. No, I'm not eating that freaking horse. I know that's a horse rib. Michael, I'm not eating this bullshit. I said, that's definitely not freaking horse ribs. No, what do you think that horse trailer was doing here? I see that. So the guy pulled in, and within 30 seconds, they had the ribs on the plate from the horse that's in the horse trailer. And then he refused to get surgery one time. He refused to get surgery at an outpatient center that was next to a cemetery. He goes, you don't think I know what they do over there? You go in the front door, you get wheeled out the back, right into the freaking hole. No, thank you. I'm like, okay, this is my life. This is my life. This is how I lived. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. This is my life.
I believe.
We're driving down the street. We're driving down the street one day, coming back from the cancer center in Tampa, and he's in the passenger seat, and he just starts screaming, "I hate fucking bald people! I hate bald people!" I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I'm like, because we drove by a guy that was walking on the sidewalk that was bald. I'm like, oh my God. He's gone. He was mentally gone. I mean, he's just gone. Gone.
I love it.
Gone.
I can tell you my grandmother is very much like your dad, and the stories you're telling, I keep looking up like, oh my God, I have enough for a whole sitcom series of bullshit stories of dealing with her and her things and the way she behaves and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like she goes, the neighbors weren't trimming their bushes, and she got tired of walking around, so she goes over and trims them for them.
Oh my God.
Oh, it gets worse than that. But yeah,
when I lived with him after I got divorced, he had a neighbor across the street, Barbara. She was really nice. So I'm making dinner. I said, Dad, you want to invite Barbara over for dinner? Michael, please. She looks like a freaking linebacker. Leave me alone. Next thing you know, he's on the phone. Barbara, you want to come over for dinner? I'm like, oh my God, I can't freaking win. I can't win.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, he was totally out there. He was so insane.
Well,
but that's where I get a lot of my comedy from, though. Because he was gone. He was mentally gone.
I love it. I love it.
But that's
Listen,
it.
We're gonna go.
I'm ranted out.
Are you gonna hang around for a little bit?
Yeah, I will definitely, because I want to hear the story with Irish for sure. So I'll hang up for sure.
Absolutely. We have. I've told a few of you folks earlier. If you just joined us, we have Irish. I'm just giving his first name. He'll be on with us at the end of the show. Next up, we've got a very fine musician for you, and you guys are going to love this. Nathan Nelson is going to kick some ass, and he's a really good songwriter. I've listened to him last night. I'll also tell you all, I'm going to just give you a teaser. I spent till midnight last night talking to a bass player who's a very well-known bass player. For all of you out there, we had Leland Sklar on last week, and being as I'm a drummer, I love talking to bass players and seeing what makes them tick.
Really?
Lee was a lot of fun, but till I was talking to a very intelligent bass player who made me go, wow, I need to do a little homework here. Yeah, we got into talking about different rhythms, and his rhythmic concepts are just unbelievable. And I've been playing 50 years, and I was like, I got to hang with this guy. I got to play with him. I can't release the tracks yet because I've got 2 tracks that nobody's heard yet, except for me and some of his very close friends. He has been in music since the 80s, and I will tell you, when you watch his band, people laugh their ass off all the time. He's the guy who is the leader of the band is a household name. Everybody knows him, and he's just known for being a wild and crazy guy. In fact, he makes me look calm and sedate. Like, he puts me into, like, I'll do it. This is how I would do the show if I was him. Yes, welcome to NPR. This is Neil Radio, and we're waiting. This is our annual fundraising drive, and we have Mike Imparato and Nathan Nelson. We're going to be giving you 1 CD for signing up. So, at any rate, that's what's happening. Waking up, Jules. That was a great joke, man. I'm telling you, that one, the response meter just went.
All right, we're going to go to break, and we'll be right back.
We're going to go to break, and we're going to have Nathan up right now, and stick around. The fun has just begun. It's going to be an extra long edition of Live with Neve, Julie, and the rest of the gang.
Awesome.
All right.
Hey, Nathan.
There he is. Nathan, what's happening, man? Tell us where you're at.
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, not Alabama, man. That's the worst thing you can say to somebody that's in Atlanta is that they're from Alabama.
Absolutely, man. I am so sorry. I have spent my time in Lawrenceville and Beaufort and Cumming and Athens, and I've been all over that area, playing, working, doing all kinds, having fun, spreading mayhem wherever I went. Having a good time, man. Partying Kennedy style, man. So what's going on? What are you doing lately?
You're doing Americana. Tell us all about it.
Yeah.
Well, mostly I am doing it at home.
Right, like everybody, right?
Yeah, I didn't mind the break. Accidentally quit drinking. Turns out I only drink when I'm working.
Congratulations to you.
Yeah.
I'm also a teetotaler. Congratulations. How long?
Well, I mean, if as soon as the gigs start happening again, probably the drinking will too.
I
only drink when I work.
Oh,
yeah. I only drink at work.
Perfect
I
sense.
gotcha. Then
I'm
you're
the same
good.
way. So what are
Other
you?
than that, just hanging out in beige rooms, man.
Yeah,
So what,
I know you're coming to us from. I know you live in Atlanta, but you're coming to us from downtown Kabul. We can see your hotel here in my backdrop. You can see your windows
we got.
glowing in the reflection in the windows. So you're all.
Can you see
Well,
me waving in there?
yeah,
It's not coming
yeah,
through.
yeah. In
You
fact,
need to
I
zoom in.
noticed I'm looking at the show and you have a picture of me playing drums on the wall. I think you're quite a guy, man. You really went to a lot of effort to get that up there.
Well, it's a masterpiece.
Absolutely. In fact,
Made a lot of money
Nancy
for that.
Kravis took that beautiful photo, and hell, she managed to leave the studio in the session. She went home with full possession of her faculties, and she was in pretty good shape. We have a lot of fun. Nancy, if you're watching out there, we love you, and your photography is excellent. Hell, if you weren't so far down in the deep south, we'd send Nancy down to get a good photo of you, man. You're a good-looking guy, and she'd make you look even better.
You could send that last guy down. He could bring me some of his parents' dope.
Absolutely.
Oh, Mike, yeah.
Yeah, Mike. He's sitting. I see him off camera. He's in there chowing down. Don't chew with your mouth open, man. What's the matter with you? Fucking A. What's up with you? For you, huh?
No one else saying, man.
Poor Mike, man. He doesn't have enough problems. He's got to have us harassing him while he's trying to eat breakfast.
So Nathan,
Somebody's got to do it.
You're right. So tell us, what are you working on? What are you working on right now?
Well, we've been doing a lot of writing and recording with the band, trying to be productive during the quarantine year. And it looks like it's keeping up for another little while. So that's basically it. That's the only option.
Right. And now, so now tell us a little bit about your background. How did you I know you're Americana. Can you describe to people who aren't familiar with Americana exactly what it is? And I know you're going to play a song a little bit later on here, but can you just define it for people who don't understand?
I think it's just a term for what they call bands that they can't put them in any other genre, so they just call it that. It's kind of all American music, rock and roll, blues, country.
Okay, see, that's perfect. Rock and roll, blues.
And actually, what we play is a marijuana kana.
I did see that. You're a marijuana kana. Now tell me about that.
Well, we play Americana, and we're usually really high when we're doing it.
That's the only way to do it.
One night well, people always come up and ask before you start, at bars and clubs, like, well, hey, what kind of music do y'all play? So my bass player, Dave Roth, he's the genius of the group. He had sometimes he'd say bedrock, unpop, sheetrock. And then one night he told a lady a marijuana kana. And I was like, holy fuck, man, that's the name of the album.
Absolutely. I mean, that, bravo.
Yeah, good for
So if he's the smart one in the band, who's the dumb one?
That's definitely me.
Oh, I can't see that.
Oh, good. What a great answer, man. I like you. I want to hang with you, man. That is a perfect answer.
Smart enough to surround myself with people that are better than me, that make me
Hey, man, that is the best way. Hey, Pam, good morning. One of our guests is moving to Georgia. Where are you going, Pam? I'll tell you what, I love the state of Georgia, and it's high on my list of places to consider in relocation. I kind of have a 2-year plan, maybe 3, to get out of New York. I love it here, and hopefully by the time 2 or 3 years goes by, I'll be able to keep a small place here. But I'm heading south somewhere, better, tax situation, and it's getting to be too crazy. I'm getting a little tired of the winter, even though I love going skiing and all that stuff. New York's changed, obviously, in the past year, incredibly. And I grew up here and in the area. And so I think it's time to get back down to the land of good barbecue and, just some good rock and roll. So hopefully we'll see you down there. I'm waiting to see. Oh, man, Pam, you're moving to Athens. All right, girl, that's like the home of the 40 Watt Club. I know. I'm told that I've been there and partied pretty hard. That was in the 80s, so some of those days were a little fuzzy. They tell me we were good too, so I don't know. It's kind of funny how that creeps up on you. But now it's all coming back to me. A little bit of sobriety. All of a sudden, these weird memories of the past. Some of them that should have stayed gone. But what can I tell you? So, what are you going to play for us today?
I will play the first song off of the album Americana.
Oh, fantastic!
All right,
I suppose.
Everybody, Americana. I can't even say it, man. Americana.
Yeah, it's called "Spell It Out" is the name of the song.
All right.
All right. I guess I'll just start whenever. She woke me up and said she's leaving me. I wiped the sleep out of my eyes and tried to look surprised. Hell, I didn't see this coming on. Tell me, what did I do wrong? You gonna have to spell it out for me. She said, all of a sudden you give a damn. You just gonna sit there playing dumb, as you must think I am. Well, how dare you walk into this room smelling like that cheap perfume? Shall I chalk it up to stupidity? I go to work, you sit around and play, writing songs all day long that never seem to pay. Well, they certainly don't pay the bills. I don't think they ever will. We ain't got no electricity. Yeah, who's gonna cook and clean and wash for me? She said, I did it by myself. You never offered any help. I come home to a filthy style, dishes by way up high. You just leave them sitting there for me. Yeah, what am I supposed to do now when she's gone? This ain't no sudden thing. Somebody's waiting in the wings. And the part that really gets me though, it's probably someone that I know. I'll kill them both for doing this to me. She woke me up and said she's leaving me. I wiped the sleep out of my eyes. No need to look surprised. Hell, I should have seen this coming on. With all the things that I done wrong, you don't have to spell it out for me. Oh man, I lost my earbud power. There we go.
1 second. You want to get Neil unmuted? Neil, you're muted.
Okay.
Neil, unmute. Neil, unmute.
Neil, you're muted.
Neil, you're muted. Unmute. There you go.
I see, man. I gotta say that is a great tune, and what I tried to say the 3 or 4 times with my mic off. I'm a quick learner,
Thanks, bro.
But I love the finger picking. And are you tuned in standard tuning?
Standard tuning for that one, yes.
Okay, cool.
And
go ahead, Julie.
I was just going to say, I was so impressed by all of the picking and everything you're doing as those little pieces, especially acoustically alone. I mean, I know rhythmically that that's one of the tougher parts, and you did it just perfectly and beautifully, and it made it look and sound so smooth and easy. So I mean, that's super cool. Love the song. Great song. About
1 million years ago, there's a guy out of Atlanta named Bill Sheffield, and he's basically like my Mr. Miyagi.
Is he? You're a great player.
And so basically my whole style is just a rip off of his style, which, you know, it's a blend of all like the old Delta and Piedmont blues.
We have a guest
blended with country music.
Right. We have a guest on. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. His name is Roy Bookbinder.
Yes.
Yeah, you know Roy? Well, we'll have him on next week again.
Know of him.
You know of him. Well, I'll tell you what. I have him. He's on our YouTube channel. We interviewed him about a month ago, I reckon. He'll be back on again. You know, Roy's, you got to just catch him at the right time. But there's nobody I like sitting and hanging with and talking music and vintage guitars as Roy Bookbinder. And who knows, you know, if this all ends, I'm going to try and do some of these shows, you know, on the road in various places over time. We're working on some sponsors. And being as your song, I'm going to try and I'm going to use you as one of our selling points to the cannabis industry, which we're courting as far as our sponsorships. So you got a great song. Who knows, man? Maybe we'll be ringing you up one day to come do some live appearances.
Bring it on.
Yeah. Hey,
Absolutely.
I also have connections in that industry and worked in there for a while. So yeah, we can make some connections. I'm sure it'll be great.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. So what else?
How about another? Oh, go ahead, Julie. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask the same thing. We wanted to hear another song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, man, we'd rather hear you play than listening to me run my lips.
Well, and probably rather than me talk as well, especially this early in the morning.
Yeah, right. Hopefully you had a little wake and bake.
Yeah, I didn't even go that route, man. I was naturally baked from the lack of sleep.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, you're in good voice, man.
Thanks, man. I'm up now.
All right, man.
Okay, let's see. This one is called I Hope She Don't Come Back. Just because it's the only one I can think of right now. Yeah, I'm sitting here again by myself all alone. I think I'll take a nap. Hell, I can't say for sure where my woman has gone. I hope she don't come back. Hell, I sat around and waited for as long as I can. It's the most that you could ask of any man. I don't miss her as a matter of fact. Well, I hope she don't come. Yeah, I hope she don't come. Man, I hope she don't come back. All she ever did was piss and moan. I do plenty of that. And I'm so fucking glad the bitch is gone. I hope she don't come back. They say if you love somebody, you should set them free. That's how you can find out if it's meant to be. I ain't putting on no kind of act. Well, I hope she don't come. Yeah, I hope she don't come. Man, I hope she don't come back. What you did so wrong. Don't you worry about that. Yeah, the only damn reason I wrote this song is to say I hope she don't come back. Yeah, she didn't say goodbye or even bother to pack. Her things are on the curb in a grocery sack. Call me cold, say my heart is black. Well, I hope she don't come. Yeah, I hope she don't come. Man, I hope she don't come back. You're muted again, dude.
Yeah. It was great. Awesome. Wonderful.
Thanks, y'all. It's really weird singing with the earbuds in.
Is it?
Is it?
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
you're doing perfectly. Couldn't even tell.
Yeah,
well,
really.
thank you kindly.
So what got you into music?
Say that. Sorry, what?
Go ahead, Neil.
Oh, I was just going to say, I find it interesting you have problems sometimes when I have, like when I'm playing drums and I have earbuds in, like if I'm listening to a track, it doesn't bug me, but it does bug me if I'm singing,
Well, yeah, and basically what's happening is the guitar and my vocal aren't coming through the earbuds. So I'm not really hearing the guitar when I'm singing it. So it may or may not be in key, but that's normal for me.
Oh,
I know you sounded like you're in key to me. Good enough for government work. And plus, I tell you what, you have a good voice. I wouldn't dare, if I was producing you, I wouldn't put a bit of damn, any auto tune or any of that shit. Just doesn't need it. And
I feel like everything should have auto tune on it these days.
Oh,
so just the whole album, all auto tune.
In fact, what we do then, we set it to the maximum resonance and so forth. So it's really, it almost sounds, I don't even know. It sounds like, I don't know, one of the mechanical prostitutes in Westworld. Just got that kind of a seductive voice that just has a little too much glottal slide, if you will.
Okay. Wow.
Hey, Julie, we are getting one of the girls from Westworld. She'll be on. We're going to have the real wholesome looking American girl, all American girl.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently they tell me that she was programmed to be let's see, how would they put it? A lady in the kitchen and a whore in the bedroom. That's some fine family advice from that side of the family. Anyway, moving on.
Basically, just your basic dream woman, just like that.
Yes, Dolores. That was her name, Dolores. That whole she had that perfect. All those people had the auto-tune voice. I find auto-tune. I can see using it for a note or two here, but people who live by it and every song is this.
Yeah, it has become a thing.
Oh, they've even been doing it in country. I listened on the radio the other day in the car, and it was the most crap country I've heard in a long time. And I've heard a lot of shit out there, but this reached new lows. It was just dripping in auto-tune. The drum tracks sounded like whoever produced it, they're clever, but not real clever. I mean, it was like every oddball drum sound that they could throw in from the urban, like from the Snoop Dogg sample library they were using. And I'm just saying that shit wasn't country. I don't know what it was.
So what you're saying is it's guaranteed to be a big hit.
Probably. For the people who think it's country, you're probably right. But we've had some great country people on here. Sam Rourke comes to mind. Sam is, she's very, like, once you hear and see her do her thing, you're like, this is, I don't know what she's got, but everybody else needs some of it in the music biz. And she's also Americana.
Yeah,
ahead, Jules.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you guys are your sound, I mean, you guys would go great together touring.
Absolutely.
I mean, you'd work.
Let's hook it up.
We're going to hook you up with her because she plays around in Atlanta, and you're close enough. She lives in Tennessee, but she's from Kentucky, and I will tell you, I like comeback stories. See people who've really screwed up, and she is an amazing comeback story. And all of us think we get our ass kicked once in a while, and sometimes you do. But this girl's life, she grew up in the hollers of Kentucky. And I'm talking way out, no big towns nearby. As a young person, she was very, I'm just going to lay the story out best I can. She was very obese, weighed 300 pounds. And if you look at Sam now, you'd be like, I can't imagine her ever being 300 pounds. If you add in a dose of a dysfunctional home, and it's not too personal because we've talked about it on the air, so I'll go ahead. I don't feel I'm telling anybody something that hasn't been told by her. She ended up getting arrested at 17 for methamphetamine. And she wasn't like your garden variety tweaker. She's like quite industrious for a 17-year-old, The girl was working with what she had, and she had her own meth lab at 17. I mean, her daddy, the moonshine guy, would probably have been proud, but she was not. She ended up in a mess, addicted to meth and in jail and in and out of jail. she finally got herself cleaned up, and she's still young. She's got to be like under 25. The girl's got more experience in her life with just fuckery, that's the only thing I can say, than anybody I've heard from. I have to say, we have our guest Irish on. His story is incredible, and it parallels hers in many ways in the act of redemption and getting your life back on track. Sam, when she sings, Julie and I heard her sing Jolene, and I think that was the first link I sent to her. And when you hear it the first time, you just go, holy cow. Not only is it a standard that it's kind of a hard thing to, how do you out Dolly, I mean, in picking a song like that, but she tears it up. Her video is great. And like I said, you guys would be great on tour together. Hell, I'd want to promote that, Bill, because we all make some money. And
well, now I need to go check out that episode.
Yeah, you do. She's
on Facebook and YouTube.
So, she came back from all that. She doesn't weigh 300 pounds. She writes the most gut-wrenching lyrics you'll hear, and they're all real songs. It's not that, half-assed, whatever we were talking about, that syrupy crap I heard the other day that, I don't know, I think Hank and Hank Sr. and Johnny and, all these guys are just up there going, what is that shit? I don't know.
Yeah, we know what you mean.
Yeah, but moving on, you have some more music for us?
Yeah, I can do another one if you like.
Yeah,
I got a real cheerful number here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
This one's called Everybody's Gonna Die.
We love it. That is true.
Some folks are looking for diamonds, and some prefer the silver and gold. Everybody wants the life everlasting. We all want to go home. Yeah, everybody wants to go home. There ain't no place like home. Most folks agree this ain't the real world. We're more than flesh and bone. So many ideas how to get there, but in the end we're all going home. Yeah, in the end we're all going home. There ain't no place but home. Well, you can take the high road. I'll probably travel alone. Ain't but one thing for certain. Every road's gonna lead us home. If you think this world ain't dirty, just try walking through it alone. Till there ain't a damn thing in this world that can hurt me, 'cause I know I'm on my way home. Hell, I'm just passing through on my way home. I almost forgot about home. Yeah, everybody's gonna die. True story.
Yeah.
I like it. We're on a roll this week with songs about death. We had Matt Carsonis from Warren Zevon's band on talking about some interesting bits. You ought to watch that show too. I think you'll enjoy the lyrics. You have a way with words that I really enjoy. In fact, I'm glad when you said that. I was glad it wasn't a happy song. It actually, I kind of got a smile. Sometimes. At any rate, I think even the fact that you wrote that song convinces me more than ever that I want to hook you up with Sam. I tell you what, I almost hear a single in my head that ain't even been written, just with you guys' voices and your picking style. Your guitar style, you're definitely different than a lot of the people we have on here because you're mining that old finger picking style. And I mean, you can entertain. It's like I'm a drummer and I could sit here and I knew exactly what I'd be doing. And, just a snare drum with a couple of brushes and a kick drum. And that's like, really, you don't need to do much to a song like that.
You should have been beating on that desk.
Oh, I would have. No. In fact, next time I'm going to try and accompany you or someone else. They tell me it sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. Julie is watching out for the quality control as always, and I'm just always screwing around.
That on me. Thanks.
No, you do a great job. You keep me out of trouble all the time. There's no doubt about that. She gives me these little helpful reminders that I might be wandering into dangerous territory or God knows.
Right.
I mean, we have no delay here, which is great. For anybody watching, if you are a fainting goat, do not faint here, okay? If my jokes offend you, if you easily get the vapors, or if you haven't heard the word tits in a long time, you may hear that occasionally. So,
and then going in the background. So Nathan, thank you. Where can we find your music? Where can we find? Where can people find your events for you performing in at your home?
Okay, let's see. First of all, the music, it's pretty much everywhere you can stream. It's on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and then about a million other ones that I had never heard of.
Right.
So I think if you just put in my name or the name of the band, which is Entertainment Crackers.
Got it.
And that's available. And then Facebook, same thing. If we do any live streams, it's usually on Facebook or Instagram, which is also Entertainment Crackers. And on Facebook, they wouldn't let us spell out crackers. So it's crack-us with an A instead of an ER.
Wow, is that somehow offensive? Just curious.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe Keebler already owned the rights to it or something, because that it's food. You can buy them in the grocery store. Right. Like a Ritz is an entertainment cracker.
That almost sounds like an exercise, trying to see how far that censorship goes.
Yeah, well, years ago, the clubs were just putting my name on the sign, and I didn't like it. So I told the guys in the band, I was like, "Hey, man, this is no good. Y'all got to come up with a name for this band."
Yeah,
well,
that's what it was. I love it. Genius, Dave Roth.
Thank you so much, Nathan. And we
absolutely
really having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all very much. I had fun.
Thank you.
All right, man. Don't be a stranger. You can come back anytime you want. You got some new song? We're here to hear it. We love it. I'm gonna.
All right, cool. Yeah,
I'm gonna do my best to get some new friends and some gigs somewhere. We'll see what happens. It's a new year. Hopefully, we can all have some good shit happens.
Yeah, get us on that funeral and divorce party tour.
There you go.
Absolutely. I've had a couple of those myself lately. And now, actually, all my divorces that are in the past, I wised up. At any rate, I'll talk to you soon.
Anybody needs it.
And next up, everybody, we're going to have.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here. You're not, but maybe you are. Thank you. Live with Neve, coming right up.
And I'm here too. Hi, everybody. See you next time.
Okay, back to me. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Murata. Coming this fall, the Live with Neve show, featuring the one, the only, the inimitable, Jerry Murata.
We keep that for the blooper reel. Try it one more time.
Here we are. No, that's I didn't. That
good.
Wasn't a mistake.
Oh, right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Moranis.
Live with Neve, Fridays on the East Coast from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
All right. I'm unmuted. Okay, thank you, Julie. All right, everybody. Here we are going into our last segment, which is going to be long. Normally, we'd be signing off at this point. However, we have a really exceptional guest coming on. And for those who weren't around, I know there was 2 or 3 of you earlier. And I'm joking. The man we have up next, I talked about in the first segment. However, I'll give you a recap because I'd really rather hear him tell you. This man's been through amazing adversity. He's come through it. He's still smiling. He's got a wicked sense of humor. He's got a great smile, and he's been through more than almost anyone I know. I'm going to go ahead and let Irish tell the story, and we're going to bring him on, and I'm going to talk to him. And what I'd like is, if any of you guys out there are watching, I think this is going to be a really good show, and I would advise you, please share this interview. I'm going to be talking to him for 5 minutes or so, but take this time. I don't think you will hear anything this good on any television program anywhere. Normally, I'm all laughs and making gags and just being kind of a goof. This is a real serious topic, so we're going to keep it serious and give him the respect the man deserves. I'm only using his first name just because I don't know if he would care, but I want to respect his privacy. And I will just tell you, you will walk away, and I guarantee you're going to learn things from this conversation we're about to have. So if you have a minute, I would say settle down and just sit back, and we're going to tell you one hell of a story. Irish, we're going to go ahead and bring you on. Here he is, man. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good.
You look great, man. You're smiling. You got some rosy cheeks, man. You look like.
Oh yeah, it's the Irish in me, you know.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have never guessed. I thought you were some kind of, I don't know, an East Asian or some kind. No.
Yeah, I on my side job I do scam calls. I call.
Oh,
people
good.
Say, yeah.
Hey, man, I can hire you. I do too. What I do is I scam call the scam callers.
I actually had a pretty good one the other day. The guy called me. He said, "Yeah, your warranty's up. You got to send me $900." I said, "I tell you what, man. Go ahead and text me a message, and then I'll forward the text. But then you got to call my other number." I gave him the number of the police department. This idiot called him. Great.
Oh, I love it. Now that is brilliant. What a great response. Wow. That's excellent. So, what are you up to? Before we get into the past, what's life? What are you doing right now? I know we got a lot to talk about, man.
Right. I mean, I live a pretty mundane existence for the most part. I'm a finished carpenter for a big construction company. Mm-hmm. And that's my days. I get up in the morning, I feed my cat, I go to work, I come home, I kiss my girlfriend, we have dinner, we have some laughs, and wash, rinse, and repeat.
Hey man, you know what? I love the fact I'm a big cat guy. I love all animals, period. But mine would probably come in and make an appearance at some point because he'll get bored. And
Mine too.
You've been down there talking a long time. Will you please come and pet me or feed me? What's your cat's name?
My cat's name is Willow. She's actually was rescued from underneath a trailer, and she's about the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Well, I have a trailer rescue kitty too, so but in fact, both of my cats were rescues. But the first one, Sweet Pea, who's she's got big bones. I'll just say that. My kitty's, I love her to death, but she loves to eat, and my vet's going to give me hell. But you know what? I know myself, a cat or a dog or any, it makes your life so much better. It really does.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Pam Ryan was watching. She runs an outfit here in my town of Highlands. I'm just going to, Pam, you do great work for the community. I appreciate, I will tell you, a lot of people, we donate to Pam, and she gets food out, and the dogs, cats, and shut-ins, people who are not able to get out, and a lot of senior citizens. But you'd be surprised, people from all walks of life with COVID are out there having a real hard time. And I just love her to death. She's got a great heart. And so getting back, why don't we start let's talk about this. I'm going to start way back at the beginning. Before things got rough, what was your family life like? Let's start there.
I mean, I grew up in, rural America, little country kid. I had the big ears, the glasses and stuff like that. So I was just kind of one of those kids. I just disappeared into everything. But, my parents at one point in time before, mental illness and addiction wrapped them up, I had a good life. I had a real good life. And my parents were married, I think, for 14 years. And then it just, like I said, between addictions and mental illness, everything went sideways.
If I ask you anything that you feel uncomfortable answering, I know you've probably been asked. I don't want to give too much away because I'd rather hear it from your mouth. Let's just go ahead. Why don't you tell some of my folks how that unfolded, the whole event, and like the prior. Did you have any warning before this started that things were going to get that weird?
I mean, when you're dealing with your parents, especially when you're a kid, you usually don't see the people they are. You see parent, and parent is God in the eyes of any kid.
Right.
So, basically what you end up doing is this is your normal.
Mm-hmm.
And your normal becomes fine, dandy. So there signs, absolutely. Absolutely. Would I have noticed them during that time? No.
Right. It's just, I can't imagine what it must have been like to what happened in the next phases. What was the triggering event that started the whole downward spiral of what happened in your life?
Well, I mean, I think probably 48 months before this actually happened is really what started everything. See, my parents divorced when I was 12. My mother left my father, and my dad was a really manly guy. He was a big, tough, strong guy, and my mom left to be with a woman, and that screwed his head up. And he couldn't take it, so he plummeted into alcoholism and work.
Right.
And my father was one of those guys who became somebody else when he drank. And tough for me because I'm caught between the two. I think I probably went to 10 different schools between 12 and 16, bouncing back and forth between the two.
Right.
And my mom had always really severe mental illness. Like I said, it was normal to me. So I didn't see it.
Right.
And the things that she would say and do had just become normal. Not saying they were, but that was what was normal to me.
Right.
So basically we go into, I don't know, probably 14 or 15 years old. Friends, he's got just one fight after the next because I have a gay parent.
Right.
So, don't say nothing bad about my mama because she'll get into a fight with me, I assure you.
Yeah, right.
And that was what my days had become. And anytime I screw up in school, I got moved to the next parent. So,
right.
I mean, this kid, and I almost refer to him in a third party because I'm 43 now. And a lot of work has gone into my life and understanding what brought on this thing, because I wanted to know for myself, what was I dealing with? What was I working on? How was I going to deal with it in my older years and stuff like that? So, I mean, I really sat myself away from it so that I could deal with it, because if I left myself inside of it, it'd wreck me.
Right. Well, I think that's common with a lot of people who've been abused young. I'll only speak from some elements. I had some interesting experiences growing up, had alcoholism in the family and things like that. And you kind of feel like you're running back and forth between your parents, kind of giving them messages, and you want to love them and you want everything to be cool, but it's not. Sometimes it's just not, for whatever reason. I'm fortunate, in my case, my mom got divorced from a jerk and married the best guy in the world who loves me like a son, and I love him more than any biological dad I had, because I didn't even meet my bio dad until I was in my 30s. But, those things, it makes you think a lot until things happen to people. They don't really think it can happen to them, or that life will throw them a curveball. I mean,
what do you
so tell me your first inkling. Let's talk about the circumstances of the actual event.
Okay.
How did that unfold? Were you home? I'm going to let you just talk.
All right. So basically what happened was moving forward, you got this dysfunctional 16-year-old kid who doesn't do anything but fight, and that's about it. Me and my father had a really bad fight, and it was, it became physical and stuff like that. And so, I called my mom.
Right.
It seems harmless, right?
Right. But
what I didn't know is that my mother had already been plotting to murder my father. And
wow.
I was just calling my mom. The next days to come, since I was a kid, my mom had always talked about killing my dad. So it
Wow.
become common language. And not to say that it's right or normal in any sense. That was my norm.
Do you think that she was serious, or was it mostly just kind of, idle chat? Like you just kind of went, she'd never do that.
I always dismissed it. I always dismissed
Right.
it as, it's just mom being mom.
Mm-hmm.
This time she was with another person, and the other person was actually pretty rugged and pretty out there.
Right.
And it was different because my mom had began taking Xanax in large quantities. I'm talking about a bottle a day. And in order to fund that, you have to have money.
Yeah.
And if you're not one that can hold the job down because you're too screwed up because you think everybody's out to get you, what do? So that's the conversation she's having. My conversation with her was, I just got socked in the face again. Can I talk to my mom? Because I don't know where else to turn to.
Right.
So things got a little bit real, and then, it kind of went away. And what happened then was my mom basically said, look, I can get you away from it. All I have to do is get some stuff from the apartment. Give me the keys. I'll go get it. And then I'll get you out of there. I'm game for it because I want out. Any way I can get there, any way I can get away from what's going on between my parents, I will do it. And, I gave her the keys. Next morning comes around. I call my father's store. He's not working. I call, his other store. He's not working.
Mm-hmm.
That's unheard of. So I'm getting scared because, this constant talk about, killing my dad is there. And now I'm getting scared and worried and anxious. And I'm like, oh, fuck, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
So I drove down there and I found my father dead on the floor.
Wow. What unfolded next?
Well, keeping in mind, if you're a 16-year-old kid with a bunch of problems in school and a bunch of problems with fighting and a bunch of problems with disciplinary, this, that, and the other, you're the perfect suspect.
Absolutely.
And so now I'm getting questioned by the police.
When you meet, what happened immediately after you found him? You called the police, I'm assuming.
I called the police, and next thing you know, everybody starts showing up, and everybody's looking at me.
And they were all like right there. They immediately suspected you.
Yeah.
And you knew right away, I'm in trouble.
I got my mom and her friends saying, don't say anything. They'll think it was you. They'll think it was your girlfriend. You'll go away for a long time.
Oh,
and,
gosh.
I'm scared.
I bet.
And so I go to my dad's store. Everybody's staring at me. And now the cops show up and say, well, what are you doing last night? What was going on with you? I clam up. I know what happened already, but it's my mom. So what do? I don't know what to do. And then we all go down to the substation. 10 hours goes by. I'm the last one to go in. I walk into the cop. There's two cops sitting in there. And they're not bad people. Okay.
Right.
They're not the enemy in this.
No.
But people make mistakes. And when you do this, let's be clear, when cops do the shit that they do, and they see dead kids, raped kids, battered spouses, they see the worst of the worst of the worst.
Routinely, yes. Every day.
Keyword, routinely. So who do you look at?
First, you look at relatives, husbands, boyfriends, cousins, kin. You look at their friends. You look at everybody.
Exactly.
And
exactly. So now you got this kid who's clearly lying to them. And I'm not good enough to go up against two interrogators.
No, hell no.
I can't.
Nobody is. People
they know
think
I'm
they're
full
smart.
of shit. So because I'm full of shit doesn't mean I'm defending my mother. It means I'm covering for myself. And this turns into a 4-month absolute nightmare.
They didn't immediately arrest you, did they? You were out just trying to get your life figured out.
I was with my girlfriend all night with her whole family, and everybody said I was there. So it's not like I disappeared for 12 hours that are completely unaccounted for.
Did the lawyers make hay out of that? Is that what they did? Is said, no, it's just they're covering for him, and that's how they explained it away, I'm assuming?
Exactly what happened. So basically, now when you know something happened and you can't possibly be wrong because they chased me for 4 months. During that
Tell me,
time,
what did they do? Yeah.
oh my God. So my mom takes over my dad's businesses, starts running them into the ground, just taking her and her friend are just stealing and taking everything. And I mean,
Are they
how
still
do you
married?
deal with this? No, they're not
They were
married at the time.
they were
They had been
divorced.
divorced
Okay.
for 4 years. Yeah. So
I got
I
you.
mean, how do I navigate this? Every day
Sure.
I've got cops behind me. Every day I've got cops. I mean, just up my ass. And I never said anything about my mom because, again, between them saying that I'm going to get in trouble for it and, her going to prison forever, I don't know what to do. So moving forward, we get, this happened in August. September comes around, just a nightmare. October, November, and we get into November. And her and her friend had a falling out. Next thing you know, I'm finding evidence in my apartment in the middle of the night. I'm getting rid of it. They don't even know I was getting rid of it. I'm hiding this shit, and I know what's coming. I was young, stupid, but I knew what was coming. And then it happened.
So I'm guessing that they brought this up. Then they eventually discovered that you had moved the evidence, and they thought you were moving it probably for yourself, not for your mom. And you didn't know. Did you know clearly that your mom had done it at that point in your heart?
No doubt. Well, she told me.
Right.
She just told me. And so my mom had a curse of conscience. And she actually called the police after some big fight with her lover and confessed. Said I didn't have nothing to do with it. Said it wasn't me. Said it was her and her friend. And quiet as it's kept, hey, look, they got the keys from me. So it's not innocent. It's ignorant.
Right. They probably tried to charge you with accessory or thought about it. No, they just went full. They had you as a co-conspirator.
My mom turned herself in, and they came and got me because they had been building a case for 4 months against me, not her.
Right.
And when, here you go. There. Wants to see what's going on.
What a great looking kitty. Hey, kitty.
Willow, say hi.
Hey, baby. Oh man.
So, they had been building a case against me. Nothing against her.
You had a public defender, I'm assuming?
Yeah. So moving forward, I get arrested. Cops get me in there and they interrogate me for almost 9 hours.
Wow.
This kid is just getting smashed.
Right.
All of it came out. I tried to tell them what happened. I tried to tell them everything what was going on. They said, listen, the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with, I believe it's Brandon Dassey.
Yes.
Who had a very, very public and obvious false confession.
Right.
So they go off tape, they turn everything off, and they just grind my ass to smack, just to pieces. And by the time it was done, they had gotten enough, not accurate enough.
Right.
So I go to a juvenile detention facility at that point. I'm only, I just turned 17.
Right.
Go to a juvenile detention facility, and I spent 18 months there. The problem with going to a juvenile detention facility when you're charged as an adult is you have no access to your files. You have no access to legal materials, defense materials. Even if you did, good luck. It was Billy. Get out of here.
Kitty's joining in.
Yeah. She said, like, I've had, like you said, you've been gone long enough. Pay attention to me.
Right.
So next thing you know, this lawyer comes in. I think I saw him twice in the 2 years I was there. Nice guy. Really was. Tried his best.
Sometimes PDs, a lot of people think, they get a bad rap, but a lot of them are very experienced trial lawyers. I have a friend of mine in Florida who's, he's handled murder cases, and those guys, they get a lot of work under their belt and handling,
too much
pro bono, trying to help some of these people who are clearly guilty is just. But tell me, did you feel like your public defender? Do you feel like he believed you and was?
I feel like he believed me after we were 3/4 of the way through trial.
Okay.
I think that it took him actually seeing the people lying, because let's be honest, nobody listens to a kid when they say they didn't do nothing wrong.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Nobody listens to some 16-year-old kid when he says, yeah, my mom and her lover murdered my dad. It wasn't me. It's a stupid, crazy, mind-boggling thing, but that's actually what happened. So,
wow.
I get to trial, and you want to talk about scared. There's no words to describe going in there and you see all your family with these stone faces. My dad's friends with their stone faces, and I don't have a friend in the world except for one aunt who really got me through that.
Mm-hmm.
So I get in there, and this prosecutor, man, he was a gem. He was an up-and-comer, wanted to make a name for himself. It was a high-profile case, and so he decided, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get the win, let the truth fall somewhere in between or wherever it does, because I don't really care. And I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
The trial went on for a good period of time. And during that time, I got people coming up here saying they saw my car. I got people coming up here saying that, oh yeah, it was a young Caucasian male with blonde hair driving that car. That was him. And I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck is going on? And nobody believed me. So moving forward, obviously I'm convicted. And the thing comes up to whether or not I should have been sentenced as a juvenile or an adult. Now, an adult sentence in Michigan for murder is life without parole, mandatory. You do not get out ever.
Mm-hmm.
From
do they have
there,
a death penalty though?
No death penalty in Michigan.
Okay.
So there's this big hearing. Well, Kevin won't admit to what he did, so therefore we can't sentence him as a juvenile unless he admits to what he did. So
catch-22. What the hell? And I know you as a young man must have just been like overwhelmed.
And I still didn't do it. And I still just said, no, I'm not anymore. You got me that first night thinking that somehow or another my dumbass was going to walk out the door if I told you what you wanted to hear.
Exactly.
You weren't going to get me a second time.
No.
So I was sentenced to natural life without parole. And at 18 years old, I walked into my first state penitentiary.
So, gosh, you want to take a break for a minute? You all right?
I'm
Continue?
good.
All right, good. So while we're talking about it, a lot of people have never been in jail for anything, not, a hangnail or, getting pulled over, being drunk, any number of things, but it's extremely degrading for people. It's first time, young people. There's some people who are just bad seeds. They like going, they can see their friends, they can hang out, all that kind of crap. But, I can't imagine, because you are a nice guy and you're just living this normal life. And then all of a sudden, I can't even fathom. I'm sure my guests, I see some of the questions they have. And this is like the Count of Monte Cristo kind of a thing. One of my favorite books by Dumas.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah,
I got some books. I have some books under my belt, buddy.
I bet you have more books than I do. I love to read, but I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to insult you either. I love that story, man, and I think I should have even thought about it. I bet you've read every classic there is.
Almost. I'm short a few that I would like to read off the Great Book series.
Oh, I've read most of it myself too. There's some great stuff on there, and
Yes, there is.
When you have time like you did, So before we go down that trail, let's go back to, you've been sentenced, you're in court. What transpired next? I know it was probably a couple of days. They sent you back to jail and they transferred you to a penitentiary.
Yeah, you go to quarantine first. So basically, you go in there. You go through all the rigmarole of where you're going to go, how you're going to go, what security classifications you're going to go to, and because of my time. Right. And back then, they didn't have like these juvenile facilities, so where you're a kid, but you're sentenced as an adult, so we'll put you somewhere safe for a little while. I didn't go through any of that. I went in with the wolves. I went into GP. The offer there was, you can go into protection or you can go into GP, and I wasn't going to live my life in a hole.
Yeah.
So I went in.
I understand. And how did it go? What was your first day like? I can't even imagine. I mean, that first day when you actually just kind of
My
describe
first
it in
real joint. So you go to quarantine and it's everybody coming in, so everybody's still fresh.
right.
But then, back then, I walk in, they have what's called state blues, which is all what the prison gives you. And, at the prisons, you have your own clothes. If you see anybody in state blues, it's because they either just came in out of quarantine and are fresh, or they're about to go kill somebody and they don't want to screw up their good clothes. And so
Gotcha.
I'm in state blues, clearly not a threat. So I walk in and, everybody's like, man, look at this kid, because I was the youngest guy on my rock. I go in there and it's just one of those, I know this is bad, but don't stay in your room. Go out, go out, go out. So I went out, I go to the day rooms and stuff like that. And there's all these guys going, man, you need some cigarettes, man. Hey, man, if you need a loan or whatever. And then, every joint's got good people.
Sure, of course.
Regardless of what they did or why they're there, every place has really good guys in there. And I was lucky that I had some really good guys come up to me and say, hey, look, man, don't take nothing from nobody, especially shit. Don't take shit from nobody. So, I started to walk that line of unsure, but I'm going to do this. And, on top of it, you got lawyers, appellate lawyers saying, look, we got your great appeal. We're going to do all this good stuff for you. Don't worry. Everything's fine. So you begin to live. It's not the ideal life. It's not the life you want nor the life you choose, but that's the life you got. So you better start working with it. I started going to school. I got my GED, started working in a factory there, folding clothes. And then, you go through bad shit too. I mean, you got guys that cut into you. They'll send it's a communication system. It's called a kite. So they'll shoot kites on you and get you moved maybe closer to their room, maybe even in their room. And you know why. So you got to beat the shit out of them.
Right.
Or get your ass kicked. But after you do that enough times, they realize, there's easier, targets than the Irish kids. So you start working out, you start getting tattoos, you become prison.
Right.
All the while hoping some appeal happens. So hoping something happens that changes your situation, because when you're that young, you don't really realize the sentence. You just realize,
even having the perception of the time. I mean, you've only lived 17 years. How much can you even? I look back, and it's true. As we get older, the years go faster and faster.
Yeah, that's true.
But when we were when I was a young man of 17, I didn't think I thought I was, going to have a wonderful life. I couldn't conceive of dying, or I just thought my life was going to be perfect. Very naive, kind of, and hard. I worked hard, but I can't imagine So how long do you think it took after you were in there of having a whip ass? You finally started things ease off. A year, 2 years?
The crazy thing was I actually got an appeal. The Michigan Court of Appeals stated that I should have never been sentenced as an adult. I was too young. And there was all these, plus factors for me. So my sentence was reversed and vacated. 4 months later, political year, 4 months later, they changed their own minds. And so I was given this life sentence a second time. I thought I was I was 42 days away from home I just turned 21.
Oh,
and
man.
They said, yeah, never mind. And that's when this, I really hit a dark time there.
Man, I can't imagine.
That's when I realized, I'm not going anywhere for a while. I just lost, I got to vacate. My sentence was vacated. I was going home. Everything was going to get straightened out to never mind. It's, we're not going to let you out. And then I saw a friend of mine die, and he was an amazing man, a guy named Homer Banks. And one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life. And I miss him a lot, but he had a heart attack and died, and they drug him out into the hallway, pulled his clothes off, put him in state blues, put his body on a gurney, handcuffed him to that gurney. He was dead. And then they took him out. And that's when I realized that that was my fate. That was my future.
God damn.
And so I became what's called a jailhouse lawyer.
Right.
And I fought and fought and fought. And an amazing attorney named Deb LaBelle in Michigan, wonderful, wonderful woman, reached out to me and said, hey, listen, we want you to maybe work on some of this juvenile lifer stuff with us. What do I got to lose at this point?
Right.
My appeals are done. I'm done. I don't know anything about juvenile justice law, nothing. All I was doing was hoping.
Right.
So I dove into this, and and the more I learned, as I'm learning, I'm getting older. And I'm seeing young me's in droves come into this system.
Right.
And I'm just like, God, these kids have no idea. They have no idea what's going on. They're doing 30 to 60, 40 to 80, life with parole, life without parole. I mean, just these huge, huge sentences. And they just don't even know what's coming. And it's like you said, some of them are in there with their buddies. Some of them are in there with their pals. Some of them, but maybe, most times than not, that's all they ever knew, because they didn't have parents.
Right.
They didn't have anybody. They had this group of people who used them and everything else for this, that, and the other. And so that's all they knew.
Somebody's commenting, you would be a great counselor, man. You really would. I have to tell you, just sitting here talking to you, you're an amazing guy. I mean, a lot of folks would come out, and the fact that you've gotten through this, you're so self-actualized and you know yourself, and I guess you had a lot of time to find yourself. But I think that
you have time to think.
You have a lot of time to think.
The thing people out here do that I've noticed more than anything else is nobody stops to think. Nobody has that time. Everybody's so busy. And when you sit and you think not just think for a few minutes or a few hours, you're thinking for years about who you are. What is life? We're on this giant ball floating around outer space. It just gets that deep, because that's all you have is time to think.
Yeah.
The crazy thing from there really was the self-realization. I'm not getting out ever. What am I going to do? I was always one to work. So I would work in kitchens, or I would work in, I got a really great job towards the end of my sentence working in the prison wood shop. And I became basically a licensed carpenter.
Great.
And those are skills that help me out a good deal today. But
the fact that you got out, and I mean, your story is such an inspiration to a lot of people, or will be, I hope. It certainly is to me. I mean that. I'm not blowing sunshine up your ass. I'm sure. I imagine you've dealt with the press quite a bit, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Have you been treated fairly most of the time? Unfairly? How does that worked out?
It depends on the angle. I mean, if you're dealing with somebody like niche shows that have an audience that require a certain setting, you're not going to get treated like you want to, because they have a story to peddle.
Right.
And mind you, a story. If you get people that are genuinely interested in learning, or curious about the justice system, or curious about juvenile justice, or curious about, what the fuck happened in your life.
Yeah, right.
Then you start to get better and more accurate reporting.
Empathetic, I think, is, again, too many writers and journalists, use the term loosely in some cases, they have like you say, they have an idea, and that's the way they want to run, with a slant. Instead of being unbiased and telling information as it is and letting people make the decision, there's always some kind of angle and storyline arc that they want to get. I have to say, I bet you have the best bullshit detector on the face of the earth now.
Yeah, so the scammers, I have a blast with them. I really do. They call me all the time, and I have apparently, multiple vehicle warranties from over the years. And I kept one on the phone the other day for about 30 minutes, just asking questions about, where do I send the money?
Oh man,
and he thought he had me too.
You on the show. You got another job if you want it, man. You're going to be our team up with Mike and we'll have you guys pranking people. I want to do some bits with Mike. He's our rant man. He'll be back on again at some point. He's watching, and I was just talking to him on the show earlier about I want to do some prank calls with him where we, it's like being a vampire and only killing murderers. There's some justice served by tormenting the tormentors.
I got one good the other day. So I got my Bluetooth in, and this lady's, I'm putting up cabinets, and she called me about 6 times. I hung up 5 times, about 6. I'm tired of it. So I'm okay. Now I have an Impact. I have a DeWalt Impact that's just ramming these things in. And so I took my Bluetooth. I said, hey, hang on one sec. I said, can you hear me? Can you hear me? So I knew her ear was good and close to the phone, and I just rammed that Impact as loud as it would go right there. And then she hung up on me. She was quite upset.
Ooh, did she? Has she called back? Or is that...
No, and I miss her.
Oh, that's too bad. I always figure, I've worked in the trades. I've done a lot of things in my life. From the bottom to the top. I can tell you, I've done it all. I've been a grave digger briefly. I've done some pretty crazy jobs. Some I can't even talk about. At any rate, what I'll tell you is. I'm amazed about you as this conversation unfolds. You just seem so you seem like a well-adjusted, you're a happy guy on outward appearances, and you just seem to have a hell of a lot of wisdom from all that time thinking and reading. And I do believe if you were reading like the great books, that can't help but change your character. I think the great books program is an excellent thing because a lot of people don't know where to go. The studies show most people don't even read after high school, which is amazing to me. I like to read. That's what I grew up, I didn't have a dad around, and I lived across the street from a library. So that was my internet of the day as a kid. And I still love to read. And I have to ask you, now that you're out, do you still read anymore, or you have so much more to do?
I really just kind of said, you know what? I think I've read enough. Yeah. And they have this thing now called social media. Now, mind you, when I got locked up, the phone cord was still a cord. And next thing you know, I have this thing and it talks to me. So I get out and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? It was transitioning from then to now is absolutely one of the craziest. But I mean, it's cool because everything's new. Everything. It's like Christmas every day. You can't keep me out of the supermarket.
Oh, I bet, man. That's like when people move here from like back when communism was very prevalent in Eastern Europe. I've had friends that moved here, and they said the first time they went into an American supermarket, they just lost it. They were like, "Oh my God, look at all this variety!" And East Germany was like horrible place to live back in the 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, because it was all behind the Iron Curtain, behind the wall, till 1987. And all of a sudden, all these people had freedom. What was of everything when you first got out? Describe that. It must have just been an overwhelming bunch of sensations. And I
honestly felt like I was doing something wrong. Okay, so let me go back a little bit. So again, I'm not getting out. So everybody's probably wondering, okay, well, if you weren't getting out, how did you get out?
Mm-hmm.
Blind, stupid luck. So the attorney that I was telling you about, Deb LaBelle, advocate for juvenile justice, just worked. And through her efforts and many, many other behind-the-scenes attorneys, advocates all over the country, managed to get a hearing up in front of the United States Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. So in June of 2012, Miller versus Alabama happened. And basically what that is a case that decides that it is unconstitutional to give a juvenile life without parole without at least assessing whether or not this child is irreparably corrupt, unfixable.
Right.
And that saved my life. So, and then that's when the real fight begins, because now I have a choice. Now you can go in front of them people if you want to and tell them that they were wrong, or you can go in front of them and fight them and go down in flames. I ended up getting this lawyer, a guy named Dave O'Brien out of Miller, Canfield, Paddock, and Stone, and one of the best human beings I've ever met. And I ended up getting a a private investigator named Steve Crane out of ACS Investigations in West Bloomfield, Michigan. And those two, on top of the work that I had been doing for years, took what I had done and we prepared for the resentencing. I knew I was going to be resentenced at that point. I just didn't know if it was going to be life without parole again or if I was going to get one of the lesser numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So the 7-year war then began to get resentenced. Now, mind you, I have a U.S. Supreme Court, and also a shout out to my guys. There's 360 just in Michigan, many of which have not been resentenced from a law that passed in 2012.
Wow.
Many throughout the country got life without parole again, not because they deserved it, but because somehow or another this has become political.
Right.
And it's not right.
Yeah,
so
all bets are off once that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a United States Supreme Court ruling overturns and vacates my sentence. So I sat and fought for 7 years to be resentenced. And I never had a sentence for 7 years. We get into the courthouse and man, my judge, when I walked, now mind you, I go back to the county. I do what's called a writ. They writ me out back to the county. And I go into the county jail. Now I'm in a 30-man holding tank with 50 drunks. After doing all this time in prison, having these people behind me, it was just like, oh God, get me out of here. But I'm just okay. I got to be here about a month. So I get through that. I make that walk to that courthouse, and I make that walk into that courtroom. And I hadn't seen my family in probably 23 years. And I walked in there and I saw my family, and man, I thought I was prepared mentally, emotionally, legally, educationally. I thought I was ready. I was not. And I just, oh my God. So I went through what was called a juvenile resentencing, and it started pretty rough. I was back to the same old bullshit, the same old nonsense. The only difference is that I'm not 16 anymore. I'm 43 and I can defend myself.
Right.
I have a lawyer, and I have another lawyer, and I have paralegals, and now I have this awesome investigator. And the work we did came out. So the eyewitness that saw my car gets up there and completely recants. I'm heavy. I'm just like, it's happening. It's actually happening.
Did you know that person?
No. Not from a can of paint.
Just somebody in the neighborhood didn't know you.
Some random person, and look, I've had a lot of thought about whether or not maybe my mom took my car that night. To this day, I still don't know if she's lying or she's lying, but one of them is. So she recants and apologizes, and I'm just looking at her like, oh my God, it's happening. Then the old detective gets up there, and my lawyer, who is no longer, it's not a public defender, but he took my case pro bono. Amazing, amazing guy. And
what's his name?
A guy named Dave O'Brien. He actually retired after my case.
Wow. What a positive thing to retire on. Do you still stay in touch with him at all?
All the time, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, he actually retired to be a school teacher, and then COVID hits, right?
Wow. What a guy.
He's something. Him and Steve Crane have become very good friends of mine. I mean, I was out at Steve's house this summer with my girlfriend. These are just amazing people that, for whatever reason or another, got behind me. And I to this day, the gratitude that I have for these people it's unparalleled.
I imagine I still the more we talk, it's just it blows my mind because you've come out of it and you're really positive about it and you can talk about it. And a lot of people can't when they've gone through traumatic experiences. They can't express that because sometimes it's just so awful.
And then actually, it was Homer and who died that I told you, and a few other really good guys that I met. And I learned kind of a life lesson of, being negative and being upset and being pissed off all the time is like poisoning yourself and hoping it to affect somebody else.
Sure.
It's just pointless. It's a pointless thing.
How long have you been with your girlfriend? Did you know her prior?
I met her when I was in. We became kind of pen pals, and I got out a few weeks after I got out. We met, and it was, it's been great ever since. She's amazing.
Wow, man, you guys, I'm so glad. We wish you all a bunch of happiness. Gosh, well, so let's carry on with your story because
right.
We left off. You were just kind of waiting and fighting, and things were turning around slowly. What happened after that?
Like I said, the U.S. Supreme Court vacated a sentence. That doesn't happen in criminal law very often. So again,
No.
I got very, very, very lucky to get back into a courtroom, because had I not, I would have never went home. I'd still be there.
Right.
And so as the witness is recanting, and as the evidence is coming out, and all of these things are changing, and all of a sudden the evidence that was allegedly mine was planted clearly.
Mm-hmm.
The judge, I'm watching her change, and I'm watching her look at me differently, and I'm watching her believe me. And it was the first time ever that somebody in authority had believed me. And she didn't have to say it, I just saw it. And then I went and testified. I testified for about a good 2 hours. And I knew I was going to win when now here's a little tidbit. So the prosecutor in this case that was prosecuting me contacted my attorney, because I wrote him a letter. I said, look, you guys got this wrong all these years ago. Help me. And I'm not saying I'm not saying send me home. I'm saying make it right. Whatever decided after that is decided. But I just wanted to make it right. When I decided that I wasn't going to go in there and say, yeah, it was, I did everything. Hoff is over there, by the way.
Right.
When I decided I wasn't going to be that guy, that I was going to say, no, what you did was wrong, and I'm going to fight you. And if I lose, I lose. But I go down with integrity. I go down not wondering what if.
Absolutely.
Because I could have went back to prison anyway. They could have not believed me, and I could have went back to prison. But at least this time I didn't go, well, man, I wish I would have got on the stand. Man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done this.
Right.
And so I get up on the stand, and this guy who asked me for to do a polygraph test to see if I was lying, and I agreed to it. During the whole hearing, he's going, well, he refused the polygraph when he was young. He refused. And I knew I was going to get him. I didn't know when that I was going to come up, but he didn't know what he was getting into. This wasn't this 16-year-old kid. No, I spent a lot of years educating myself and preparing in case this ever happened. And I knew exactly what I was going to do. And my lawyer did too. Poor Dave. God, I was worse. I was so terrible. Man, I was such a pain in his ass. So Dave had actually came to me and said, look, just let it go. We're winning. Let it go. I'm like, okay, I'll let it go. So we get up there, and he said something about the polygraph. I said, well, aren't you the same guy that asked me to do a polygraph because you believed me? And, oh, yeah, the person that actually did this is still free, and there's another murder surrounding him. Aren't you that guy? So he freaks out, says, I'm a liar. I'm this. And the judge is like, we're not in that type of a hearing. Why are you freaking out? So there's a big thing back behind the scenes after that. Go to your holding tank, all this other stuff. So he comes out there. Now he's gentle as a puppy because he knows I'm not going to take his shit. I've been putting up with everybody's shit for over 2 decades. I ain't putting up with no more.
Man, I love it.
And so
it felt good.
It felt good, but it was crazy in a sense too, because at that point in time, him and I, it was like, in prison, when you get into a fight with someone, you would just respect them more after that. Right. And so we got into a fight verbally, and sorry about your luck, I won that one. But then we had an honest conversation, and we had an honest, deposition. We had an honest thing after that. Right. And I don't hold nothing against him. When I walked out of there, I said, when you want to make this right, you let me know. Mm-hmm. And I stand on that today. But from everything that happened from there, I have to be resentenced now. This was just the hearing. So I sit in the county for 2 more weeks, sweating my ass off. I was so scared because I don't know if the judge forgave me. I don't know if the judge believed me. I don't know.
So I just want to make sure I understand. This was the judge making the decision. There was no jury involved. So it's just an administrative.
100% judge's decision. So she looks at me. I go in there. She said, I'm not going to hear another word from anybody. It's going to be from Irish and from me, and that's the only people talking today. And so I poured my heart out to my family. I told the truth, and I was barely holding it together. I was just, I got it out.
My stomach hearing your tale is gripped. I mean, it's like I'm tense, and it's you can feel it in yourself what you're going through. I mean, I just can't imagine. It's bad enough going to the judge for a speeding ticket, and but to be sitting there under that pressure, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're an amazing guy,
dude. Listen, no words. And so she looks at me, and she laid out my life like I knew it.
Yes.
Not like everybody else thought it was, could have been, might have been, could have, all this other bullshit. She laid it out like I knew it. And it was just one of the most I hadn't even been sentenced yet. I didn't know if I was going to prison forever, but it was just one of the most relieving things just to know after all this time that finally I got it sorted. And at that point, I didn't care anymore. I mean, did I want to go home? Of course. Yes. Of course. Did I want to try to, live some semblance of a life? Absolutely.
Right.
But for me, the most important thing was not going back, leaving anything in the ring.
Right.
And when she said it, and she's like, I can't do anything but give you the minimum. And she gave me the minimum sentence, which walked me right out the door.
Excellent. What was the sentence?
25 to 60. I was paroled.
Wow.
And when I came back to prison, it was weird too, because they had heard about everything, the witnesses recanting and all this other stuff. And so the prison treated me differently.
Right.
The guards treated me differently. It was more of, oh shit, we're sorry.
Right.
And it was just the last, 6 months of my time there was, it was just so weird, because now I'm in level 1s with all these yahoos, and I don't care though. I'm going home. I don't give a shit.
Right.
And that was when really everything just kind of came to a head, man. And I did my last transfer, and I have an amazing friend named Donna, and she was there for me like the last years of my sentence. I have like this amazing support system. That's my family, but I'm not related to any of them. I have like Lone and Donna and all these just wonderful people that came into my life, and they don't even know how much they held me up, those last years. Because I was done. I was cooked.
Wow.
And I walked out, and there's Lone, and there's Donna, and there's Ryan, who was my friend from childhood. And there's this film crew filming me. And the warden came out and shook my hand. And I'm just like, what the hell? And then they take me to Tim Hortons, right? I walk in here, and this lady looks at me and says, "Sir, what can I get you?" And I just started cracking up laughing. And she looked at me like, what the fuck is this redheaded asshole laughing at? You know what I mean? And so I'm like, can I have one of those? She's like, of course you can. And I just start laughing again. You know what I mean? So I get these donuts and this amazing coffee. And one of my best friends from prison who had been out for a while snuck up behind me. I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I jump, because that's what you do when you get tapped on the shoulder. And it's him. It was my best friend from prison. And dude, I start crying right now.
Oh man, I'm almost ready to start crying, man. I feel for you, brother. Tell you what, Julie, let's take a 5-minute break here. We're going to run some of our advertising, get some water. I'm going to do the same thing, and we're going to come back. Everybody, we were talking to Irish about his incredible life story, and his what a guy, man. I just want to hang with you. Sooner or later, we got to hook up, man. But
absolutely.
We're going to go to some ads for a minute, and we'll be back in just a couple.
Trying to change the system from within.
right. So, I'm
Sorry, I know
so,
that was not 5 minutes.
oh man,
Do you guys need more of a break? You guys
I'm all right.
need to take a little bit longer
you all
break?
right?
I'm good.
You good?
What a guy, man.
You're amazing.
You know, for everybody watching, if you came in late to the show, I'm speaking with Irish, who's lived an amazing life, and I have to say, I'm almost getting emotional here. I'm
I've
calm
been
down.
crying
Sorry, my breath's a
backstage
little
the
off.
whole time. So
You know, I find you such an inspiration, man, and I say that because I've never been through anything you've had to deal with, and incredible miscarriage of justice. Our system is good. Unfortunately, it has its flaws, and just hearing you characterize like how it almost pissed me off when I thought about the warden shaking your hands. I feel like you're a hell of a guy because I would have been so angry, and the fact that you had good friends who could teach you how to not come out of there and just be like berserk with rage. You're a good man, and having had to put up with that, it just makes my heart ache. I wish, I know anybody watching this, remember this if you're watching, people. This shit can happen to anybody. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what race. It doesn't matter what you like, who you like to sleep with. It just doesn't matter. If you
doesn't matter.
remember, you gotta,
It happens.
if you get involved with anything like this, really use your head. And one of the commandments in the Bible is one that I particularly believe in: is do not bear false witness. For simple people who don't have any God or anything that they care about, that's fine. It's your life. Do what you want. But thou shalt not bear false witness. You don't talk shit about people that's not true. You don't, gossiping, all that kind of shit. It's the same thing. Oh, I'm going to badmouth somebody behind their back. But then that's how it starts. Then next thing you know, you got some idiot sees a case on the news. Oh, all of a sudden I'm a witness. I saw a blonde guy. It had to be him. He's probably been watching the broadcast, so he falsely testifies. And that is just so screwed. I cannot stand this kind of person who does that. It's just atrocious. Go ahead, Julia.
I was just going to say, I mean, it is the system, in my experience, has been that it is nobody gives a shit. They have zero respect for you as a human being. These, at least down here, the authorities, you're not a human being. You're not anything. You're guilty until proven innocent. And anybody can say anything about you and they'll believe it. They'll believe it 100% instead of getting an actual story, getting facts and all that. And you can use facts, you can use photographs, you can use records, you can use video, all that stuff to fight it. And guess what? You still get fucked up the ass and you're still wrong, even though you've done nothing. You've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong. You've done everything you were supposed to do, everything you know to do, everything you were told to do. Follow directions. Like Irish was saying, you're a kid. You're doing that. You don't know, and even as an adult, you're trying to, for me, like learning how to do things in a different way. And it ended up being to the point where it was so frustrating because I noticed that Neil is, yeah. Anyways, I noticed that people don't usually listen to you, and it's just a shame. I'm so sorry for what you went through, Irish. I mean, you are definitely an inspiration, one hell of a person to be able to come back like this and not hate the world and not hold any resentment, at least outwardly. I mean, I couldn't do it.
I mean, what do you do?
I don't know.
These things happen. What's the worst thing I suppose that could happen is that I'm one of the guys that gets lucky, and then I get out here and I don't use it because I'm mad.
Right.
No, you're right. You're right.
And
You're
instead
right.
I have like these amazing friends that I get to spend time with. I have this
Right.
amazing girlfriend that, for whatever reason, loves me to death. And it's just, even during the COVID thing, it's like, if this is lockdown, I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably. Yeah, I can. I can make all kinds of jokes because I mean, I just think I just try to think about being in your position and just being out of jail after 24 years. How much the
25
world's
years,
changed.
2 weeks, and 5 days.
Yeah, fuck, man. I mean, what is like of all the things when you got out? What's the thing that surprised you the most of everything? After that time period, I mean, it was supposed to be like going out to Europe in the Skylab for 24 years, and you come home. I mean,
Yes,
you're locked
Sputnik
in,
returns, right?
right?
Um, the technology.
Hmm.
I guess I kind of felt like Marty McFly. You know what I mean? I pull up in this DeLorean, and here I am. I'm looking into the future. The sharks chasing me across the boulevard there, and the guy that used to work at the Frosty Freeze is now the mayor. So
I love
I
it.
mean, the change. I think on my way to court, I passed the house I grew up in, and the trees that I planted that were this big were now 30 feet tall.
Wow.
It was a hometown I didn't recognize anymore. I didn't know where I knew the roads. I saw the street names, and I'm like, where the fuck am I at? I mean, fuck, I haven't driven in a car in 5-6 years since my last transfer, which now the car rides are like a roller coaster. And when you get out of prison, you know what really sucks? Metal silverware. Absolutely sucks. Because it touches your teeth, and you're just like, I don't want to touch my teeth because I've been eating off plastic for years. You can't cross the street because you can't judge how fast the damn cars are going.
Right.
Wow.
Never
even. Yeah. I mean,
one thing I do need to do is I need to plug in my computer because my battery thing is.
All right, that's fine. Julie, let's go to a break.
Okay. All right.
I'll be right back.
Thanks, love. All right, everybody. We'll be right back. We'll be back with Iris shortly. Run a couple, Julie. I'm going to run to the men.
For bonus content, extras, and all sorts of cool goodies, become a patron. Go to Patreon. Live with Neve.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here. You're not, but maybe you are. Thank you. Live with Neve, coming right up.
And I'm here too. Hi, everybody. See you next time.
Okay, back to me. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Murata. Coming this fall, the Live with Neve show, featuring the one, the only, the inimitable, Jerry Murata.
We keep that for the blooper reel. Try it one more time.
Here we are. No, that's I didn't.
That
wasn't a mistake.
All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Moranis.
Live with Neve, Fridays on the East Coast from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
All right. For all of you guys watching, look at this. You see my ear over here?
Yeah.
Oh, that way.
Yeah.
My headphone, I sat on it. My headphones just snapped off.
I thought I saw something like that. What are those? Something good?
These are some Sennheisers. They're getting all crapped up, though. If you look at them, they've had so much abuse. Look at those things.
Yeah, it starts peeling off into your ear. I hate that.
It
crap.
is. It's my ears are all grody, They look all black and craps all over them when I take them off.
I hate that.
Time for some new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely time for some new ones. That's a whole nother joke I could get into, but this other conversation is far more compelling than any joke I may have at the moment. So one of the things when we first spoke, and if I quote you correctly, I'm remembering correctly, you said that I asked you what was the one thing that saved your life. And let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, music.
Music.
So early on in my sentence, I went in and I was on my own. I mean, I had my friends in there, but it's different. You don't have family or people from the streets because, you didn't really establish those sorts of relationships as a kid that would last something like that. And at one point in time, I don't think I had a visitor, made a phone call for like 12 years.
Wow.
And so I would go to the prison counselors And if you go to them and you tell them your story and it doesn't line up with the PSI, which is a pre-sentence investigation report, they say you're nuts. I was diagnosed with like 3 or 4 different things just because I wouldn't tell them what they wanted to hear. So I quit going.
Mhm.
So you're sitting in there, what do you do? How do I vent this bullshit? And I found, I was a drummer. My mom, through all her, faults, was an amazing musician. And I've been playing drums since I was a kid.
Wow.
In prison, you can't play drums, obviously, in your cell, but, sometimes you get lucky enough and you can play guitar. And
Right.
music became my counselor, and writing and reading and doing all those things is kind of what kept one foot out here.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's because if you get immersed into prison culture, you'll be immersed in prison culture.
Right.
And I didn't want that because I figured if I'm in there and everything starts making sense, I'm really fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really hard to overcome that peer pressure and all the things that go on in prison, the intimidation, coercion, and so forth. So when did you start playing after you got sentenced?
Well, I worked my prison job and I made my 87 cents a day, and I saved up for my first Rogue Dreadnought, which was $50. And man, I played the strings off that thing. I don't think there was a fret left on it.
I bet. Well, you really were making some big cash working for the penal system.
That was another funny thing. So when I got out, they actually sent me my last paycheck. It probably cost more just to mail it than it was actually. So I was at 887 paycheck, and I took a picture of that one next to my first actual, normal paycheck. I think I made, $800 or whatever. But I took a picture of those two things, and I kept that picture because it was really symbolic, that I actually got, compensated for my work.
Well, I'm not putting you on the spot. Would you like to play something for us?
Yeah, sure. Now, mind you, I have not rehearsed all that much because I do work a lot, but I'll play something for you.
Hell yeah. Everybody, we're back with Irish, and we're going to have him play a little guitar here. Hey, man, can you tilt your screen down a little bit?
Yeah.
Just see a little more of your guitar and you. Oh, that's a little almost.
We're back to the pictures on the wall not being right.
Right.
I think this is about as good as I can get.
Now it's like kind of over your forehead, but we'll fix that real quick.
No, I got a lot of forehead because I'm losing my damn hair. It's like my forehead. I got a 5 head. It gets bigger every year. It's ridiculous.
That's all right, man.
All right, so
you wear it well, brother.
Well, thank you. I try. It's hard work trying to make these little 2 or 3 things go one way or the other.
Yeah, you're doing all right, man. Mine looks like a German tourist after COVID,
Ugh.
It's like horrendous.
That's no good. So, again, my guitar became my counselor. It was really, I'm not anywhere near where, the guy was on before here. He's like a mix of Ben Howard and something that's in the, Dirty Hills somewhere. It's great music he was playing.
Nathan? Yeah, Nathan's great. And
yeah, wasn't that great?
Yeah, he was wonderful.
I was sitting here jamming along. I'm like, man, look at this guy go. He's got a thumb pick on there and everything. So he was very, very good.
He's a killer, man. We like him a lot. That guy's just got it going on.
And I can
noticed you playing along with him.
Yeah, he's
off camera. I saw you were playing along with him. That was great.
Yeah, you always got to find the pocket for every song. You can relate as a musician that you hear something and say, okay, what would I do there?
Of course. Hell yeah, man. That's what it's all about.
It's crazy. The history of music, when you look back at it, it's really 12 notes. And how much did, Pythagoras know when he, devised the music system that we still follow to this day, that 12 notes could express that much through the years. Right. Music in and of itself is just, it's an incredible journey of everything.
Well, I'm a survivor, and music has helped me survive anything that's ever been put my way. It's been the best friend I've had other than my mom or, my girlfriend. I have to tell you, it gets you through a lot of heartaches sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
Well, hell, man, let's tear it up. We're looking forward to hearing you.
All right. This is one called 20 Years. And it was right around the 20, it was right at 20 years that I wrote this one. And it was just kind of how I was feeling at the time.
Right.
So let me get it going here.
Right.
Let me find the right chord. There it is.
All right.
I drilled along these times, all seem so far from me. The courage left inside seems to dissipate. Squared up 1,000 times this past that I can never change. My back against the breaker walls for 20 years. 20 years. I don't want to dream no more. 20 years. I hit you with the line as you fired it with. Can it once just go my way? Can you once just come and say, be on your way again? Oh, yeah. It took all I had to hold me up. It seems these days it's just not enough anymore. I know my heart seems broken up. Will she ever find me? Can I ever be enough after 20 years? Need no more. 20 years. I hit you with the line as you find it will. Can it once just go my way? Be on your way again. Oh, again. Not bad for not having practice, I suppose.
Man, that is so nice, dude. That is just exceptional. Wow. I mean,
that was awesome. And Nathan backstage said, "Beautiful, brother, beautiful." And so,
thank you.
Yeah,
no, it's just coming from him. That's a great thing.
You sing great, man. You have a nice voice. It's a wonderful tune. Have you recorded it?
No, dude, I can't record a freaking phone call, man. What do you
Well, no. I meant in general. Like, have you recorded it before?
I would like to. It's been one of the things. Like, you write all these songs and you can, you can relate. You write them. You want to hear them. A friend of mine, actually, a good friend of mine that actually I got out. Real accepting guy. He's a guy named Zeb that I met. And he's in this crazy group called Some Random Bastards. And
I love it.
Just sounds a lot like Nathan on there. It just has that really raspy, dirty, but skilled go. And it's just, he just recorded. And I'm like, man, do I want to do that.
Well, I'm just going to volunteer. If you decide you want to record that, I'll steer you how we could do it. I'd love to record that for you. I'll help you get it done. And it's just something for your own. It's just something we'll talk about it off camera, but we can make that happen, and I'll be glad to help you any way I can. You're a great guy, and honestly, that's a great song. I don't care. That is an excellent song, and that really spoke to my heart, and I know it will a lot of other people. So we're gonna pretty it up, man. Do something cool, Well, listen, I'm going to bring my other guys back on here and bring them into the room. Nathan, we got to wake him up. He's completely baked and assumed room temperature for the moment. Sitting there. Look at him. Look at you.
I've just been listening, man.
We got to bring There he is. Mikey, look at you.
Hey, guys.
Everybody, how about that? Is that some shit? Is this not the coolest guy we've ever met? I mean, damn.
I agree.
Yes, amazing story. And I got somebody, if you want somebody to write the book about your life.
Hey,
My
Tony.
ex-sister-in-law is a published author. She's got movies and stuff, and so I can hook you up with her.
I'm
right.
sure you get a lot of offers, but I'll tell you about Mike, and I'll tell you anything we ever do with you. Our word is our bond, man, and you don't have to ever worry. It's a handshake thing. If we tell you we're going to do something, we'll damn sure do it. You've been through enough bullshit in this life that I feel obligated just to, you need a favor, you need to talk to somebody or ask them about something you don't know regarding audio or video, man. We're here for you.
Yep.
So, Julie, you have any other questions for Irish, or how about you, Nathan?
Oh man, I've just been sitting here listening. This was worth waking up early for.
I would agree. I would agree.
I
have to say, watching a lot of shows about the Innocence Project, it really opens your eyes to how many innocent people are actually in prison. It's mind blowing. And like your case, served 20, 30, 40 years in prison, and they were innocent the entire time. It just blows your mind.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of them haven't, and through no fault of their own, a lot of people after they've been incarcerated for so long can't break out of it because they don't know anything else. A lot of folks have been in prison, like you said, a lot of kids go into jail. They're in the prison system 13, 14 years old until then they get out. Then as an adult,
it ruins them.
It ruins them because they don't have any idea or hope, or they just don't know what to do. I mean, I feel for these people.
And it's not just what the system does to them. I mean, there's a bit of a lack of role models, walking the halls of prison for these kids, and there's salvageable youth there.
Absolutely.
Kids that can get out and do anything in the world. It's sad because I watched a lot of them get lost.
Well, sadly, the political system influences our justice system, and the like so many things they don't really do well. We have not got it right as far as youthful offenders. We also don't have it right.
Anything, nothing.
Mental health is huge. We just don't treat it. There's no functioning mental health system in the States, and some of my Republican friends will say that we shouldn't have national health care, and I can see their reasoning. But the older I get, the less I see it, because every country in the world that has standard of living of any decency has it, and we're the only country of our size doesn't have a national health care system. And I've gone back.
We have a national insurance system.
Exactly.
Yes, and I mean the thing is, I used to hear the arguments and kind of could see the point some of my friends make on the right, and at the same time, there's so many people who are bankrupted just by eliminating all the bankruptcies and the toll that takes on the system, and we got to do something. We got to do it better. In particular, even what we have now, the mental health system needs to be fixed. It's completely broken. We put people in jail instead of doing anything else, and they're not going to get better in jail. And they get beaten on, and they're never going to. It's like watching Sling Blade. So we've had a hoot having you on, man. I can speak for myself and everybody's sitting here. I consider you a friend, and I was talking to your guy. We'll be talking later about the video shoot and all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to, anything you need, we'll be here for you. And thank you so much. And everybody watching, Toby, thanks for watching. Toby's our LA correspondent, and she's been here sitting on the sidelines. She's singing your praises and just loves you. And she's a sweetheart. Toby does a lot in the music industry for a lot of people. So thank you, Toby. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Nathan. And most importantly, thank you, Irish. We want to have you back as soon as we can, brother.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody. It's been Live with Neve. You see history in the making here. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, Live with Neve.